the alien covered in fear. It was a quiet night in the small town of Brookhaven. The stars were shining brightly, and the moon was full. Ellie, a young woman who lived alone on the edge of town, sat on her porch sipping tea. She loved the peace and quiet of her home, far from the noise of the city. Suddenly, a strange light lit up the sky, brighter than any star. It wasn't like a shooting star or an airplane. The light moved in odd patterns, zigzagging and pulsing, until it finally disappeared behind the hills. Ellie put down her tea and grabbed her flashlight. Her curiosity got the best of her, so she decided to investigate. The hills weren't far, and she knew the area well. As she climbed the rocky path, she noticed a faint humming sound. It grew louder with each step, almost like the vibration of a giant bee. When she reached the top of the hill, Ellie gasped. In the clearing below, a small, silvery spacecraft rested on the ground. It was no bigger than a school bus, sleek and smooth, with glowing blue lights along its sides. Steam hissed from its base, and the air smelled like burnt metal. For a moment, Ellie stood frozen. She thought about running back home, but something told her to stay. The hatch of the spacecraft opened slowly, and a figure emerged. It was an alien, unlike anything Ellie had ever seen. The being was tall and thin, with skin that shimmered like liquid silver. Its eyes were large and dark, reflecting the light of the moon. It looked fragile, almost weak. But what caught Ellie's attention most was its trembling. The alien was covered in fear. It stepped out cautiously, its long fingers gripping the edge of the hatch. Its body shook as if it was cold, but Ellie knew it wasn't the weather. She could feel the tension in the air. The alien looked around, its eyes wide with panic, as if it expected danger to strike at any moment. Ellie raised her hands to show she wasn't a threat. "It's okay," she said softly, even though she wasn't sure it could understand her. "I won't hurt you." The alien froze, staring at her. For a moment, neither of them moved. Then it took a hesitant step forward, its trembling lessening slightly. Ellie noticed something shiny clutched in its hand, a small, glowing orb. It looked like it was important, maybe even a lifeline. Suddenly, a loud noise broke the silence. A helicopter appeared in the distance, its searchlight sweeping over the hills. The alien flinched and crouched low, clutching the orb to its chest. Ellie realized the creature was terrified of being caught. "You need to hide," Ellie whispered. She pointed to the dense woods nearby. The alien seemed to understand. It nodded and started moving quickly toward the trees, but its legs were shaky. Ellie decided to help. She ran down the hill and guided the alien to a hidden spot deep in the forest. When they were safe, Ellie sat down beside the alien. "Why are you here?" she asked, not expecting an answer. But to her surprise, the alien tapped the glowing orb, and a soft, melodic voice echoed in the air. "Lost," it said, the word clear but strange. "Chased." Ellie frowned. "Chased by who?" The alien pointed to the sky, its eyes filled with fear. Ellie looked up, but all she saw were stars. She realized there must be others out there, others who were hunting this poor creature. For the next few hours, Ellie stayed with the alien. She shared her blanket to help it feel safe, and in return, it showed her the orb. The orb projected images, scenes of a beautiful, distant planet, covered in blue forests and golden rivers. Ellie understood that this was the alien's home, a place it desperately wanted to return to. By dawn, the spacecraft was repaired. The alien stood by the hatch, looking at Ellie with what she could only describe as gratitude. Before leaving, it handed her the orb. Ellie hesitated, but the alien pressed it into her hands. Then, with a final nod, it disappeared into the spacecraft. The ship rose silently, the same blue lights glowing, and vanished into the sky. Ellie stood there for a long time, holding the orb. She didn't know why the alien had given it to her, but she felt its importance. As she walked back home, she knew her life would never be the same. Somewhere out there among the stars, a friend was waiting, and perhaps one day she would follow.